Okay, we're going to start our Q&A now for NanoViricides. We have with us Dr. Eugene Seymour, CEO. And our first question today is, when will you start tox studies, and when will results be submitted to the FDA?
The tox studies will start around the end of the summer, beginning of fall. We are just in the process of doing all the pre-tox work that was requested by the FDA. And so the tox studies take about 6 months to do, very comprehensive, and the data takes a little while to report, but we'll have information quite quickly about this. This ties in very nicely with the production facility, which will start to make drug that we can use for human trials. So everything is focusing in on getting our drugs ready to go into humans, and the tox studies dovetail quite nicely.
And our next question actually is a little bit of a follow-up there. What is the best estimate for start of human clinical studies?
Next year. And it all depends on a number of things. How quickly the plant gets done, it'll be done this year. How quickly it can be commissioned. Commissioning means that you move in all your equipment, and the equipment, we have a tremendous amount of equipment that we have to move in. It's being stored now in our current facility. It has to be moved in, set up, and then you must produce 3 batches of drug that are identical. Those are just the requirements of the FDA and the European Medicines group. So as soon as that's done, then we're ready to move into humans. I've already been in negotiations with a number of different trial sites, and we have the protocols developed that have been already looked at by the FDA, and then we'll be ready to go. We don't require a flu season for phase 1, the human safety studies, or phase 2A, the viral challenge study. That's where you, in the first part, phase 1, takes about a week, 25 healthy individuals, they're given increasing doses of the drug, and if there are no toxicities noted, then you immediately segue into a phase 2A. Phase 2A is called a viral challenge study, so you get a pure population of people infected with the virus, as opposed to a hospital population where at least 25% of the patients have concomitant diseases. So what you do in this phase 2A, 25 healthy individuals, you infect them, you isolate them, you treat them, takes another week. Again, it takes a little longer to write up all the data, but it becomes pretty obvious that if the person does get better straight away, that you have something quite effective. And then you move to a phase 2B, which is an expanded hospital study of about 100 patients, and then from that you go to a 3, which is about 500 patients. But you can imagine that, and we need, by the way, a flu outbreak, just a regular yearly flu outbreak for phase 2B and 3, and you can imagine that in a busy period of flu activity, we can pick up 500 patients, over, say, 5 or 10 different hospitals extremely quickly.
Okay, thank you. And our next question, if the GMP part of the manufacturing facility will be built off-site, where will that part of the facility be built, and when will it be completed?
That's totally under our control. In other words, it's about a 5-month build. We already have the contracts negotiated. So just 5 months prior to the anticipated installation date, we will send the money to the off-site factory. It's, I believe, in Ohio, but they ship these GMP plants around the world. So part of the architectural aspects of the current facility is that we had to prepare to accept the GMP facility with HVAC and all the other accoutrements that are required by the FDA.
Okay, thank you. And our next question, if I understand correctly, NanoViricides should act the same in both animals and humans. Is that correct?
That's correct, because as I said in the presentation, we are independent of the host, and we only care about the virus and its presence in the circulation or on the eye or on the skin or the genitals. But let's just talk about the circulation. Again, it makes no difference if you're a man, a mouse, a whale, or a salamander. You have a virus, we kill it, and that's all there is to it. So that's why with other drugs, you have a sense, but you can't be extremely confident of the fact that if it's tolerated well in animals, that it will also be tolerated well in humans. That is the case for us is completely different, because that as long as it's tolerated well in animals, unless it really throws us a left-handed curve, it should be tolerated quite well in humans also.
Okay, thank you.
And just to say one thing, just to add to that, we do not work in the cells. Cellular metabolism in mice, in primates, in humans, whales, it's all different. We don't care about that. We only work in the circulation. So.
Okay, very good. And next question we have, when will NanoViricides uplist?
Oh, we have no idea. It's a whole process to do so. We may do it, we may not do it, and part of it is up to us, part of it is up to the New York Stock Exchange people. So I can tell you that we just don't know. It's just out of our hands at the moment. But what we've done is we've prepared for that eventuality, because eventually we will uplist. We now have 3 independent board members. We've just added the last board member, the Chancellor of Penn State University. And we have an independent audit committee. We have a CFO. And we have all the infrastructure in place to uplist. When it will actually happen is we don't know at this moment.
Okay, very good. Thank you. And just want to remind our viewers, if you have any further questions, please use the submit question box below the video player. We'll give it a few more moments to see if there's any remaining questions.
If there are no more questions, I'd like to just say one thing.
Sure.
Everybody should keep their eye on 2 viruses that are looking extremely nasty at the present time. One is this new flu virus that's circulating in China. It's the H7N9. H stands for hemagglutinin. It's just a different hemagglutinin strain. N stands for neuraminidase. It's just a different neuraminidase strain. And the H7N9 seems to be well adapted to mammals. It seems to spread quickly. It has a case fatality rate, well over 35%. So that means a third of the people who get infected die. And it's being predicted in the scientific literature that this will quiet in the summer and pick up again in the fall and the winter, and it's something to be very concerned about. No vaccines have been developed for that particular virus because it's very difficult for the H7 line to produce a vaccine. Secondly, the other one to watch is the variant of the SARS virus from 10 years ago, which infected 8,000 people, killed 800. Many of them doctors and nurses, before anybody knew what it was. There's another variant of that circulating now in the Middle East, sort of focused on Saudi Arabia, but all throughout the other Middle East countries. It's called the MERS virus, Middle East Respiratory Syndrome, and it's what's known as a coronavirus because it looks like it has a corona on it in the electron micrographs. That is another particularly nasty virus. There's absolutely no treatment against that. So we're keeping our eyes on that. Just stay tuned for further developments from NanoViricides with respect to those particular 2 viruses.
Very good. We want to thank you again, Dr. Seymour, for joining us today and for presenting the story about NanoViricides.
Well, my pleasure. Thanks again.
Thank you.